My name is Dan Furman. I'm a Harvard-trained neuroscientist, co-founder and CEO of Arctop. My journey into the human brain started in high school, where I was mentored by a neurosurgeon, Christopher Duma. Worked with Dr. Duma on a technique for glioblastomas. We were trying to improve gamma knife radiation surgery, which is a non-invasive brain surgery that works by using multiple beams of radiation to precisely kill cancerous tissue at the point where all the beams meet. One of my most memorable moments came when I saw Dr. Duma perform an open brain craniotomy on a patient with Parkinson's. I watched in just sheer amazement as he gently woke up the patient during the surgery and threaded a very thin electrode into the brain. In a precise location, they increased the stimulation and the tremor of the patient improved. They decreased it and it decreased. And I went on to study neurobiology at Harvard, where it was an amazing opportunity to learn. And I initially planned to be pre-med, but then as the iPhone came out, something that stuck with me I couldn't shake, which is that the brain is electric, personalized computing electronics are getting increasingly close to the body. The Fitbit would come out a few years later, and now here in 2024, we all see where that trend led. I redirected my educational focus away from medicine to computational neuroscience specifically, which is the branch of neuroscience that, among other things, deals with brain-computer interfaces, or BCI. After graduating from Harvard with my degree in neurobiology, I joined a startup that specialized in human sleep. It had been approached by Stephen Hawking's team to try to develop a brain-computer interface for him, and this task largely fell on my plate as one of the more junior people, but one of the more experienced in BCI. Hawking's communication system had been built by an amazing team at Intel that had a predictive screen with tiled information. It was tracking his eyes, and he was able to click with his cheek. Then as his disease progressed, it started to have some problems. He started losing his cheek click, and so the goal was to replace this binary yes-no functionality. However, Hawking explicitly did not want to risk any damage to his brain. He felt that that was the one thing in his body that was working. So we used a device that without surgery could sit on his forehead and detect his brain activity non-invasively. While we found that Hawking's solution was technically feasible and the signal was there, the company I was at the time did not commercialize it. So I went on to do a PhD, went to Technion's Evoke Potentials laboratory in Israel. And there I built a lot of knowledge about how to decode the brain activity from electrical signals detected on the surface of the skin, also known as EEG, or electroencephalogram. At Technion, I worked with my advisor very closely. He's an esteemed neurophysiologist and expert in auditory evoked potentials. And under Hillel Pratt, I learned a tremendous amount about not just how the brain works, but how to work as a scientist. What we wanted to see is there enough information in the brain from outside to enable someone to control individual neuroprosthetic fingers. We ultimately enabled someone to think of moving a single finger, and the system could detect that single finger movement. At the time, the field did not believe that this was even possible. It was thought that the most that could be done and measured non-invasively was whether someone was thinking of moving their right arm or left arm. We were the first in the world to find that it was possible to control limbs by on-skin sensors only. As I was finishing my PhD, I attended a startup accelerator hosted by Google in Tel Aviv. I was there pitching my own project when I met Eitan Kay, who was working on a virtual reality solution that would exaggerate hand movements to help stroke patients recover movement faster. We hit it off, and between Eitan's deep knowledge of software engineering and my own background in brain decoding, we decided to join forces and started Arctop in June 2016. When we started Arctop, our mission was to make brain-computer interfacing accessible for everyone. But we had to build out our core technology first. In the early stages of developing our technology, we found that laboratory techniques for understanding brain activity data were just ineffective in real-world environments. We learned that we needed to develop an entirely new method of data analysis to replicate laboratory accuracy under everyday conditions. During this process, we discovered a consistent pattern in the brain activity that did not change, despite the otherwise rapidly changing cognition, emotion, perceptions of each individual. We now call this unique brain invariance Brain ID. This revelation allows us to build robust algorithms tailored to individual users. At first, the technology we created enabled us to decode whether people were more or less focused, more or less enjoying a moment of experience. This was adopted and used in music tests, TV tests, movie tests with groups like Sony Music, Jerry Bruckheimer Films, Vertical Entertainment. and others that wanted an objective, quantified audience insight test. So that's what we were providing in the early days of the company, was feedback on movies, trailers, and music. How do people experience this content that was produced? It was always our intention to move towards real-time data, but we needed to build an algorithm understanding first. We needed to start training our AI. At the start of the pandemic, we were really forced to take a different approach. We started to accelerate our move towards real-time data and away from the audience testing, which we had used to train our initial systems. We decided to take a bet that we would be able to crack it and entered an R&D cycle at the height of the pandemic. In August 2020, we launched an at-home platform for audience testing. Our at-home platform allowed us to help Endel, an app for AI-generated soundscapes designed for productivity, and what was at the time the Apple Watch App of the Year. We helped Endel improve their soundscapes by providing data on focus from over 60 individuals as they heard Endel soundtracks while they were cognitively doing intensive tasks. Playing games, doing math problems, doing word problems, all kinds of challenges while they either listen to Endel or they listen to background audio in the other case. We published that research in a peer-reviewed journal, Frontiers in Computational Neuroscience, which was a major inflection point in the field because we showed that it's possible to record things at home at a laboratory grade. Still, our technology then was confined to very specific contexts that we defined. We built brain decoding models for users and audience testing for understanding how emotions and perceptions were driven by different content. But the possibilities for our technology are not at all exclusive to those areas. After all, every application in the world, I think, can in some way benefit from understanding its users better. To make this real, we started to work on a real-time software development kit to enable developers to integrate real-time cognition data from users into their applications. We launched this SDK earlier this year and released our first Arctop app on the Apple and Google App Stores. In addition to understanding mental states like focus and enjoyment, we can also decode intent. Much like the Hawking use case I mentioned earlier, where choices and selections, these can all be reflected from brain signals back to computers and vice versa. The electric sensors themselves are extremely commoditized. You can go online and buy EEG sensors for less than $1. What's missing is the integration of those sensors with everyday headwear, like earbuds, headphones, augmented reality and virtual reality glasses. If it's touching the skin, it can detect the signal. This space, as we see it, is rapidly moving in the direction of all these headwear devices having EEG signals measured. At the end of the day, we specialize in software. The tricky business of taking messy electrical signals, figuring out what is noise and what is information, personalizing the information to the individual's brain, and ultimately enabling completely new capabilities and interactions with technology. At a high level, we categorize our capabilities in 3 ways. One is authentication. This is the brain ID function, where from just 2 seconds of data, we know you're you. We can unlock something. We have cognition metrics. These are ongoing measures of things like focus, enjoyment, stress, sleep. And that set is expanding as we advance our R&D. And finally, we have digital interaction. This is what many people think about when they think about BCI. It's thinking directly to the machine, to be able to have your intent understood, to be able to communicate and interact, do everything that you want to do today without talking or moving your hands. All of these capabilities can enhance all kinds of application. And as part of our work at Arctop, we built out some demo experiences for people to see what we can do and really feel it for themselves. So our vision as Arctop is based on some observations that we've made and really distilled down, formulated over the years. And there's 3 of these. One is just that we're very, as a people, as humans, we're very intimately tied to our technologies. The second is that electric brain activity measured from the head carries way more information than previously believed. And 3 is that very few people are actually going to be willing to undergo surgery for the promise of BCI. So even a theoretically perfect system that can be implanted actually is a non-goal here. What we want is a system that can work for everyone. Those who are impaired or diagnosed with degenerative diseases can gain independence. No need for surgery. AI will be able to empathize with its users, provide personalized responses to requests and prompts. Imagine a ChatGPT, Alexa, or Siri, not just smart, but empathic, sensitive. They understand you. They seem, at least, like they know how you're feeling when they talk to you. Those who are learning new skills can learn it in the best way possible. Just like you have a great teacher who really cares about you and is very attentive to you, both your motivation and also what seems to stick and what was hard. Things like a Duolingo, adjusting content and difficulty to lessons based on your learning style and speed. Imagine an app that lets you dream about what you want to dream about. Today's AI does not understand its user. Aside from hallucinating, it also just is detached from us as people. With our unique technology, we give a continuous stream of information. If the user wants it, they can share their emotions, their intent, they can share their brain ID with systems so it can personalize and suit everything to their preferences. We believe we can radically help people by helping them focus better, learn better, sleep better, relax better. In the simplest terms, we can help people live better. I believe that technology in general, but BCI technology specifically, can significantly enhance human life. Not just by being intuitive to use and making our lives easier, but by being widely accessible and secure, all of humankind can benefit in really powerful ways. As a result of these values for intuitive use, accessibility, and privacy, we've built our technology from the ground up with a strict design framework and discipline in mind. We made our SDK easy for developers to use, while also ensuring that real-time user cognition data is only shared with our partners that the users explicitly consent. In no event does Arctop share raw brain data with anyone. This way we can build a very trusted system that's in between the user and Arctop and allow them to turn on and off different data that they transmit to other applications. This is how we maximize the BCI from outside of the head as we see it. Our mission is to make brain-computer interfacing technology available to everyone, enhancing lives in ways that we previously didn't even dream possible. We believe this nexus, this connection of neuroscience and computer science is about to open up a new world for all of us. It's truly remarkable, the opportunity with this technology, and we're really excited to see what more information can we decode, what more applications can we empower. We believe strongly that brain-computer interface can change the world in amazing ways. From the moment we're born, our brain is electric. It's being used today to see if we can hear. Towards the end of the life, it's being used to improve stroke rehabilitation and Alzheimer's. From beginning to end of our human life, from waking state to sleep state, the brain's always active and it's fundamental to us as people. At Arctop, what we really want to do is leverage software technology as much as we can to help us unravel the mysteries and advance research, but also then develop impactful applications that anyone can get their hands on, that anyone can use. Really excited to be on this journey, and at Arctop, I think the main thing is that our people, our humans, the people that are building the system are amongst the best of the world at not just understanding the signal and building software, but also trying to anticipate needs and try to see a very human-centric future that we can all live in.